Hello everyone and welcome to another Versus video. I'm Brad Nelson. I'm joined today by Todd Anderson. It's been a long time since we've done battle.
Well, I did take a 1-week vacation to the deep south.
The deep south. And while you were gone, all that happened was BBD just beat the living crap out of me over and over again with a bunch of bad decks. Just over and over again.
Just insult the man after he beats the crap out of you.
I mean, that's all I got. That's the only chip I can play.
That's what you gotta do.
Anyway, I'm going to be playing an update of the Naya decks that I've been playing a lot. Joshua Watts is a guy from Texas, also in the deep down south, and he's just been destroying with his Naya mid-range brews. So that started getting me.
Did he like win states or something?
He did win states and a bunch of IQs and
cool.
and top forward game day with it this past weekend. And I've just been building different variants of the deck because there's just cards I've wanted to try out. So here's my newest incarnation of the deck. We have seen before other players playing with Scion and Vidugazi along with Perforos, but one of the things we haven't really seen is Tristani and Advent along with the whole package. And that's something I've been trying to do. So we actually have more early mana guys in this version compared to a lot of the other ones with 4 Elvish Mystics instead of the slivers that we've seen.
Yeah, old Jim Hyde.
Yeah, and I did add Coursers. Now I'm only playing 3 because this deck doesn't rely on Courser. It's just a good utility creature in the early game. And I found that it's kind of lackluster. It's not the greatest card in the deck, but I do like how it functions inside the deck. So I do have 3 of those. They might actually come out slowly, but I have been a big fan of Elvish Mystic because this deck can get off to a very aggressive start by playing some mana guys into Advent of the Worm. And now, the reason I love Advent in this deck is it's just a 5/5. Sure, it can be Abrupt Decay, it can be killed, but it's an instant speed 5/5 that once I untap, I can either play Ajani to make it big to kill Planeswalkers, and then if they kill it, it did its job. Or I can play Scion of Vidugazi, making a bird and then populating another 5/5, which then that kind of gets out of control against a lot of decks.
Yeah.
Along with this deck still has the Perforos plan where you can play Perforos into Scion or Elspeth, dealing a bunch of damage, killing Planeswalkers that way. And that's really what this guy's job is. Against the control decks, it's your win condition. They just have a tough time dealing with them. And against the other mid-range decks that have Planeswalkers, you're a Naya deck. And I don't want to play Banishing Light because it doesn't deal with things permanently, and cards like Abrupt Decay really don't have a lot of targets in this matchup because even if they kill the Advent during their turn, any removal can kill that anyway. So I don't really consider that a target.
Yeah.
But it's really important to be able to kill those Planeswalkers. So we have that along with the Mizzium Mortars because a deck like this playing Voices, Tristani, Scions, Advents, you just want to get all of their creatures removed. And
from looking at the mana base,
it happens.
I mean, I understand it happens. Like, you have 12 and Carroted, so it just feels like this is going to be cast on turn 2 or, like, turn 3, like, way more than it's ever overloaded.
Well, sure, it can just kill their big threat if that's the thing, but this deck is very prone to getting into board stalls.
Sure.
And when that happens, you need something like Mizzium Mortars to act as the bonfire
yeah, I mean,
card.
A lot of these cards are just literally created to make board stalls. Like, if you watched any of the Pro Tour in Atlanta a few weeks ago, you saw that like Corsair, Crewfix, and Sylvan Carroted kind of just invalidated all the the weenie decks, and the weenie decks that did exist were just trying to build 6/6s that for a few mana or whatever, and to get over that. But the aggro decks in standard can't really do that. So this is like super brick wall with like adding Voice of Resurgence into the mix, adding Tristani into the mix, and even Scion of Vidugazi and Elspeth are just there to create a lot of bodies and keep your opponent from being able to attack until you can slowly take over the game and then finish them off with Mizzium Mortars or Porphyros.
And that's exactly it. Same with Ajani. Ajani can come down early or late and generate a lot of advantage.
Yeah, like life advantage. Like
yes.
Like 100 of them.
Yeah. One of the cards that I ended up taking out of the deck from the other versions of Naya mid-range decks was the Archangel of Thunes, and that might have been a mistake, but I really have been liking this package, and you need to play all 4 of each to be good. So that's where we lost a lot of the slots for the deck. But and yeah, looking at the mana, I have 3 mana confluence, and I have been happy with it. Like, I don't feel like the amount of damage I take from it is that relevant. Sure, the burn decks sometimes can get you, but if you ever have
my
Tristani
kingdom for Boros Charm right now, this would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I have Coursers to gain some life back, and I am a mid-range deck that I need to get on the board, and if I get on the board, I'm going to save a lot more life than what this is costing me.
Yeah, people don't really realize that mana confluence is, if you're playing a 3-color deck, it just lets you play your spells faster. Like, it just lets you play your stuff on time, and that prevents virtual damage over the course of the game. So, like, it's not really changing a whole lot.
And this deck can go very aggressive, extremely aggressive. If you have a mana guy into Advent, into Scion, the game's almost over in the next turn, especially if you have a Perforos. But yeah, that's the main deck, and now we'll take a look at the sideboard. All right, so in the sideboard, we have a lot of unique spells, in my opinion, that all have a job to do. Because this deck is a core around tokens and planeswalkers, the sideboard, you're just going to have to craft in certain ways. So we do have a couple cards like Glare, Banishing Light, and Deicide that are all meant to be in sideboard. Same with Mistcutter Hedger, but the rest of them could be argued in the main deck. And the reason that Selesnya Charm exists in the sideboard is to deal with opposing gods, as well as be early aggression against decks like Mono Blue, where you just need to deal damage to them, and you don't really want to use your late game, as well as just a good answer to Thassa. But most importantly, it kills Desecration Demon, which is one of the most difficult cards for this deck to deal with, and that's part of this package. All of these cards, along with the Banishing Lights, come in against Mono Black to be able to just have more Planeswalkers to deal with things. These kill life main zombies. It's really important to have. And dealing with Demon is very important, because the Mortars can pick off a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah.
The third Tristani is against any of the other creature matchups where you just get to go bigger than them, so you want Tristani, along with it being a good card against life gain strategies. And then Mistcutter is good against the control decks along with Mono Blue, and you just need a card against Mono Blue Devotion that can continuously attack, so you can play pseudo defense in the mid game, and then just have one big thing that just kills them. And this package has been moving around, but I like having one Deicide as a way to come in with the Banishing Lights against Mono Black to deal with Underworld connections, but as well against decks that have like Chain of the Rocks where I don't want like Banishing Light. And yeah, that's the sideboard. These can move around, but I've been very happy with these 11 cards.
I was going to say that I actually really like Deicide because the flavor text is sweet. Because it's just, she just, stabs Zenigo to death with the God Sign, and it's just like, it's done.
Did you see the full art of this? The full art came out, and I didn't know. It has a Johnny in it, too. Yeah, they just cut a Johnny. A Johnny's like right here chilling, and they just cut him out.
Yeah. YOLO.
Yeah, it feels like all of my pictures from when I was on the golf team. They just like cut me off on the other side.
This just got real sad. All right, guys. Well, that's the deck tech.
Let's battle.
Yeah. Before it gets any more awkward.